After facing cuts of between 6 to 10 hours a day, there is some relief for Delhiites in the form of a promise, just a promise by Power Minister Piyush Goyal, who has committed to 400 megawatts of additional power. Now, the key question we're asking is there a quick fix for Delhi's power woes? And what is the expectation from the new government on how the power situation can be addressed? To give us their thoughts today, we have Shakti Sinha, former Power Secretary of Delhi, and Rahul Modi of Antique Stockbroking to give us his views on the sector itself. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you. Mr. Sinha, I want to start off with you. You know, at that emergency meeting that Piyush Goyal called yesterday, he did mention that the key reason for the situation in Delhi is the fact that the problems of transmission and distribution have not been addressed for over a decade by the previous government. What can the new government actually do in order to solve the power situation in Delhi? Mr. Sinha, is my voice reaching you? No, I don't think you can hear me, so let me just try and get that audio fixed. In the meantime, let me go across to Rahul Modi of Antique Stockbroking. Rahul, same question to you. You know, what do you think the new government can actually do in terms of a solution to solve the power crisis?
Well, the Delhi crisis is a very temporary crisis which has actually come up due to the recent storm in Delhi. So it's not something which is, you know, a structural issue with the sector. So, you know, already the new minister has come up very strongly and, you know, committed that he will get it back on track very soon. So we actually are very confident that that will happen.
Okay, I believe we are once again able to speak with Mr. Shakti Sinha. Mr. Sinha, you know, the accusation was that not enough investment was done in transmission and distribution in Delhi, and hence the problems. What might be the first 2 or 3 emergency measures that the government can take to improve situation in Delhi?
No, one of course is that some emergency recovery paths have to be established. But I think we have exaggerated the problem. In fact, yesterday, Delhi supplied a total of 111 million units, which is a record. Never in history has Delhi supplied so much electricity. But yes, the problem is at peak times, which means we don't have sufficient redundancies in the system. And if that investments had been made on the line, that would not have that problem would not have arisen. Unfortunately, for political considerations, the regulator gave in to political pressure and did not investments, so that today we are facing a problem at peak hours. But as I said, otherwise the system is in fair condition. If the city yesterday consumed 111 million units, never ever has so much power been consumed in the city or anywhere in the country.
Who is to make the investments in the transmission systems? Is it the DISCOM companies?
No, the transmission company is a government company. It's called Delhi Transco Limited, and they are normally it's a good company. But yes, number of critical investments which are pending, projects have not been completed. So though the power has reached Delhi, power is available in Delhi. Delhi is surplus. Many areas are not able to be supplied with power because of the storm of May 30th, which knocked down 10 towers and knocked down a number of lines. That is a sad situation. That if those projects had been completed on time, today this problem would never have arisen.
So, Mr. Sinha, going forward, how do you think the TND losses overall can be reduced? Because the key complaint is that the current APDRP program of 50,000 crores over 5 years is not adequate. So, how do you think the new government can actually boost the SCB capex?
Of course, that is now. See, Delhi is separated because Delhi, being private discoms, doesn't have the advantage of availing of any funds from APDRP. So Delhi is completely out of it. For the rest of the country, obviously, the discoms are the weakest part of the electricity linkages. We have all concentrated on generation. Today, we have 2.4 gigawatts of power available. It can be made available. We can't consume so much. But the discoms are extremely weak because for years we did not allow cost-effective tariff. Now somebody must pay for it. If the poor can't pay for it, fine, let it be subsidized. But overall the system must be fiscally sustainable. So the last mile, and which is why you have outdated equipment, you have bad supply of power which encourages power theft. Between the two you are in a bad situation. But as Delhi has shown, you have brought down our AT&C losses from 60% 10 years ago to less than 15%. Some areas of Delhi, north and the east, west, where the Tata Power is there, is down to less than 10%. It is doable, but for that you need technology upgradation, you need capital investment, and you need reliable supply of power, so that the pressure on theft is that people are moving away from theft and going for regular connections.
Well, time permitting,
it is definitely feasible, definitely doable.
Yeah, Mr. Time permitting, I'll come back to you for another question on power tariffs. You know, Rahul, how are you looking at the entire power scenario? There are a lot of questions to ask you, but I doubt we'll have the time. Do you think that the realization that power tariffs have to go up, that there'll be more rational pricing policy and rational investments, like in the transmission sector, will be a lesson learned? How will you play it as an investor? Which are the stocks that are likely to benefit from expected rational policies?
Well, in the last 1 month, we've seen, almost all the stocks have gone up more than 50% in the power space. So difficult to pick and choose as to, what we need to see which stocks to be still riding on. But overall in the sector, with the new government coming in, we are very, positive. Especially on back of reforms, we've seen that the current government has actually shown its mettle in the state of Gujarat through the Jyoti Gram Yojana, where you've seen the AT&C losses have reduced from 35% to 20% currently. It's basically the thrust is on the distribution side. Generation, already enough investments have been made. So overall, if demand supply management is actually conducted properly, and as you said, and Mr. Sinha said, investments in the transmission sector have been a lag. Apart from Power Grid, there have not been many players who've been participating in setting up the lines. Distribution has been a bigger lag, where the state finances have been a drag. So with the financial restructuring package in place and almost through now, we will see a flush of funds for these state distribution companies. And we are pretty hopeful that the next leg of growth will be in the distribution and transmission space.
Okay. Mr. Sinha, one final question then from my end. The previous government had taken many policy actions like the tariff hikes that Lata was referring to, the SEB recapitalization, the renegotiation of fixed PPAs, etc. When do you see all of these play out, and how do you think it could benefit the sector?
No, as I said, fortunately, a lot of good things have been happening in the sector all over the country. I'm not talking about Delhi. Is that in the last 1.5 years, more than half the states have had tariff hikes. Bengal, Tamil Nadu, which hadn't had hikes for years, went in for hikes of 30-35%. The trouble is that the present tariffs are by and large okay for the country, but you have a massive overhang. The state electricity boards, their overhang is something like, what, 2 lakh crores? So even if you go through these packages, by the time you roll them out, get haircuts done, clean up your books, put in fresh investments, the payoff is about 3 to 4 years. This is the trouble with electricity people don't realize, and which is why possibly the pressure on action is not there. I do something good, I possibly will not be around to claim credit for it. It will be the next government. So governments have been very hesitant to take these harsh measures because, they don't see the political payoff. Result is that today we are having massive problems all over the country. As I said, Delhi is a temporary situation. Delhi's problem is very much remediable. Delhi's problem arises again from an overhang, but a much smaller overhang. And if that could be tackled, I think in Delhi itself can be improved within 3-4 months, can be perfectly fine. For the rest of the country, I think will definitely take 2 to 3 years really to get on track.
Yeah, I must apologize. This is an inadequate debate on a big subject. But Rahul, leave us with some of your buys.
Our top buys were Coal India and Power Grid and PTC India. So we stick with that because we believe the thrust on increasing coal availability from Coal India will be paramount with the new government. They have initiated actions and we expect that to actually show results in the next 1.5 years.
All right, Rahul, we'll carry on this conversation at a later date. Thank you very much, Mr. Sinha, as well, for joining us in this discussion.